All right, we are back. Totally lost count of what day we're on for this. I feel like we do need to count down to some degree.
Well,
Um,
it's December 12th. What are we counting down to now?
I don't know. Toward I'm counting down for the release of a novel. That's what I'm counting down for.
Okay.
Um,
When do you think that's going to happen?
I'm shooting for like end of January.
End of January. Okay.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, you're
crazy, but end of
you're
February at the latest. Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, good. I'm
I mean, I definitely I'll say this. This
I'm not
past
doing that. That's all I'm going to say about that is I'm not doing that. But
no, it sounds stupid to me. Like and I definitely like I think I said a few weeks back about something about tempting fate. I definitely feel like I've tempted the heck out of some fate. Like
I just
this
want you to
last week
write
has
a
been
good book. I want your book to be good, and I don't want you to not make a good book just because you're like rushing so fast.
oh, it's not that. I am having I feel like the I don't know. It's just there's this tidal wave of life stuff that's just crashing over me,
Mm,
and it is really helpful to have some crazy like goal to get this thing done so that like the life stuff I'm just constantly having to push mute on it. Um but there's
yeah.
been a lot of stuff recently I just haven't been able to push mute on. So I don't
Well,
know.
I
That's where
have I have mixed feelings about that. I guess that's what I'll say.
no,
I
trust
feel
me,
like
I
those
get
are things
it.
we should talk about off camera, but
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about that.
Well, one of the things I've wondered is it like the with the whole tempting fate thing, like this idea of focusing on a project for like 2 months, like that would be just be too amazing, frankly. But like being able to have focused on it for an entire month was so fun and amazing to me that like I was like, well, let's just do another. But then the second that like I did that, it was like gotta change the oil. You gotta change the oil on another car. You gotta get the kids in for the doctor. Oh, the kids are sick, and then oh, this, that, and the other. And it's just been one thing after another. And I'm just like, maybe it needs to be like a month on, a month off. You know what I mean? Like I'm all over the place right now.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to honor that. I do like I agree with you. It is really fun to like
Mhm.
just go deep on a project for a month and be like, this is the central kind of thing of my life right now
Mhm.
for 30 days, you know? Um,
It wasn't just fun. It's like it's really hard right now. Like I'm so deep into the weeds of the swamp that like and all this life stuff's hitting me and it's like wait, just even trying to pick up the project again and write, it's just like it's hard. Like it's just hard. Like I wind up just needing an hour just to kind of remind myself whereas before I could just sit down and be like boom, let's go. Um
dude, just since the last time I talked to you, I had like two major like revelations about my project and what it was really saying and where I really wanted to take it.
that's great.
Twice. What I
That's really
worry
good.
about this way of like just rushing through things is if you just like bulldoze through things, you don't let that happen.
Yeah, I can celebrate. I had a major um what do you want to call it? Like inspiration myself, like a
Mhm.
significant inspiration. Um and it was like it was after like 2 days of not writing because there was so much other stuff I had to do.
I
Um
kind of feel like no one should ever publish anything until that has happened at least once.
hmm. I mean, and when the
Or just
revelation
like
came,
you learned something about what it was you're doing that was not on your radar when you
oh
started.
yeah, this was completely not on my radar. And the funny thing is, it's like the most glaringly obvious thing that the book needs. Like it's really freaking obvious. When I tell it to you, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, dummy, yeah, it definitely needs that." So yeah, that was interesting. But I've not had a chance to write it down or make notes about it or anything. It's just like it's just in my phone, you know.
Yeah.
If I walk out of here and get hit by a bus, no no one will ever know this important thing that was supposed to be in the book. Oh yeah. I do want to celebrate one thing. I was able to finish the outline.
All the way to the end.
Hmm.
Yeah, good.
And
Good.
it's not
And
perfect.
especially at that granular level that you've been outlining, that is, I mean, you've basically already written a novel.
Oh yeah, let me just to be clear on what this awful outline is. And some of it will go in the book unedited, more or less. The final word count on this outline was 32,000 words.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that
didn't look at
is,
it until
you
just
wrote a
now.
novella. Like your outline is a novella.
Oh, that's kind of
You wrote a novella
embarrassing.
as the outline.
I'm editing a novella right now that's I think shorter than that stupid outline. Oh, what was I thinking? And it's not publishable stuff, it's just bullet points. Oh my goodness. The things we do. But yeah, that felt oddly very a climactic. Like I finished the outline, I was just like, oh well, that was
Aclimactic. So not anticlimactic, but just whatever climactic is not.
yeah, a climactic.
Yeah. Okay.
It was non it was
I
yeah,
haven't had that experience, so I can't. I mean, my outlining is very not like that. So
I mean it was like you finish an outline, it's like so what? You know what I mean? It's nothing. It's an outline is like to me in a way less than nothing because you've spent so much time to do it. Um, but I do like outlines when I'm writing, they're very helpful. Um, but again, I understand the pantsers who would say you've outlined way too much.
yeah, I I think there is a sweet spot that we all, and it's different for everybody, that we
Yeah.
all need to reach where our outline is in our service and helping us versus like we basically told our story through an outline,
Mm,
which I've had that happen. I mean, I know that I am not a like super outliner because when I do a really detailed outline, I have no kind of big emotional need to actually tell the story now. I feel like I've told this story. I told it through bullet points, but I told it, you know?
yeah. Yeah, there is that. There's a tension that has to be maintained there. I yeah. It is helpful, but it's helpful to know, okay, this is where the payoff is going to be. I need to pace myself like this for this part. Um, but yeah, I do. It's funny. I feel satisfied with like the story, but like it's just as it exists in my mind at this point.
Yeah, and I completely relate to that. I have that also. Like if this kind of vision of a story that I have created in my mind, if I
Mm,
can like get that on the page, it will be awesome. And people will know how awesome it is.
yeah, I
But
think that's
it's
I
the
think that's why
translation that kind of like matters, you know?
I think that yeah, so now I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, I yeah, because that was why I think that was why finishing the outline felt so kind of unexciting was like I had seen I had seen things, like I'd been to the mountaintop and seen things, and and then I like looked at what I had written down. It was just like scratches on a piece of paper. It was completely
I
useless.
have that too. For me, that I don't want that moment to happen until I'm actually like approaching the end.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know, it would be a great project. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I think I was not in my right mind. But have you seen any of the Facebook posts from Paperback Paradise? Like he only painted goblins with huge asses or something like that.
Yeah.
Someone needs to write one of those books. Someone needs to take one of those covers and go with it. Like I was showing Dylan some of them today, and it was just like these are so great. Like one of them was like I told you not to mess with my dog, and it was just this dog like and a person looking at someone being loaded onto an emergency like a an ambulance. Like where's that kid's book? But yeah, so I am encouraged. I am encouraged. So like what is your pace right now? What are you doing for pace right now?
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Someday, I mean, it's not what it was when I was like adamantly doing NaNoWriMo,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's like 800 words and sometimes it's like 200 words.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm all
it's
over the
been
place too.
500 or 600 words, you know. I'm not really worrying about that too much anymore. Like, I'm not
Okay.
focused on what is my word count. That's not where my focus is. My
Wh-
focus is on how do I take this thing and like turn it into a good story.
Mm, okay.
And so, sometimes I'm writing a lot, and sometimes I'm like writing less. And I am allowing myself now to go down those like research rabbit holes, which that has gotten me into trouble a couple times, but I knew what is par for the course.
Yeah.
I and the real kind of like monster of it is that it has paid off a couple times. Like I found some salient details that I'm like that's gonna make my story really good. I'm gonna put that in there. Uh, I spent 4 hours finding that like half a sentence, but
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, when the wormhole pays off, when the rabbit hole
that's
pays
the
off.
problem of thinking of it in terms of like word count every day. Like
Mhm.
I do think there are times where that is appropriate, where like everything needs to turn to kind of production and word count. But when you start off doing something like NaNoWriMo, where you're just trying to write 50,000 words in a month, um, in a sense, you haven't like given yourself that space yet. Like when exactly is it that you're supposed to go down those wormholes? At the beginning or at the end or when?
Mhm.
Um, Because when I'm just like writing and not doing a like NaNoWriMo project, I go down them as soon as I kind of hit a wall. As soon as I'm like, well, what happens next depends on certain like factual information. Now I'm on a now I'm on a hunt for that information. And maybe it comes quickly and maybe it takes months. Um, the thing that is bad is to just like bogged down in that. And like now I'm not even writing a novel anymore. I'm just searching for information that may or may not even exist.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have a lot more I mean, I think we have a lot more power to like just make stuff up than sometimes we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah,
Um
but I don't there are certain things that I'm fine with making up, and there are other things that I want to be tied to like the world that exists.
Mm,
I don't know how else to kind of vaguely broadly say it than that.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Those,
there's
yeah.
stories of James Joyce when he was in exile in Italy, writing letters home to friends in Dublin, asking them to go to a like particular neighborhood and a particular kind of place and like measure the height of the hedge because his character needs to like jump over that hedge and he wants to know that it's like possible for his character to like jump over that hedge and he's not gonna make it up. He wants to know. So
That's
I'm not
funny.
like comparing myself to James Joyce, but that thing is in writers. Like there are things that you want to be like tethered to the world.
I'm gonna call that hedge measuring in the same way that I would call that wool gathering. You know,
Yeah,
it's
okay, yeah. And you can invoke that whenever you want. When you think I'm doing that, you can say this is hedge measuring.
well,
But there
unfortunately,
are
that's
things that I want them to be accurate.
I can respect that, but I am gonna call it into question in moments. I am.
Yeah, do, because I probably need it when
Yeah.
that's happening.
Well, hey, that's all we got time for tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to be around Thursday, but we'll figure out a time to connect again. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll make an alternate.
All right. Good night, man.
Yep. Have a good night.